Hello, everyone. My name is Dimitri Proano. I'm a Product Inclusion and Equity Program Manager at Google. My first 5 years at the company, I've worked on supporting UX and research teams to launch search and Google Workplace products. The last 4 years, I've been focusing on product inclusion and equity initiatives and inclusive testing across Google. I'm passionate about this space I'm in, and I want to give everyone a voice to help us apply inclusive lens through the entire product design and development process. The feedback and insights from our users and customers will, 1, help create better products, 2, grow our business, and 3, drive equitable outcomes for everyone. Here's what we'll cover today in today's presentation. What is product inclusion and equity? The business case, guide to developing inclusive products, inclusive user research and testing, and a couple of case studies. Product inclusion is the practice of applying inclusive cultural and community insights throughout the entire product development process, from initial design through launch. Product inclusion and equity is the process of applying inclusive lens through the entire design and development process to create equitable products, thus accelerating business growth. It requires that we have a common language or understanding of key terminology. Let's take a look at this diagram. While accessibility is focused on specific attributes, inclusive design is the methodology to create products that understand and enable people of all backgrounds and abilities. It generates inclusive design patterns and helps us understand complex intersectional needs. Accessibility, the practice of making products, environments, and social structures usable and inclusive to people with disabilities. Product inclusion is broader. It is the end-to-end product development process that considers inclusion at many touch points to center historically underrepresented voices and create better solutions for everyone. Data is our friend, but data also can lull us into a false sense of confidence. I would call this bias-in data, because while it normally works for us, it can definitely work to the disservice of certain groups of our users and customers. Models can only be trained on existing data, even if it doesn't reflect the world's diversity. Bias in, bias out. And because so much of the smarts is hidden, algorithmic bias can propagate virally. The product inclusion and equity design practices encourage product development teams to pause and consider the unconscious bias from the world that we might reflect in machine learning when using some of the world's data. Some examples of the different human biases in data may be found in reporting, selection, overgeneralizing, and out-group homogeneity. The business case. The demographics of the world are shifting and shifting rapidly. So, proactive inclusion in product development can help us be intentional in designing useful and accessible products for largely untapped user groups and customers. And there is so much we can do. We can understand trends and growths in markets. These communities, which may currently be mostly underrepresented online, are growing online. For instance, there are 1 billion people in the world with a disability. Also, Nielsen research shows that between 2015 and 2016, US Latinx users of mobile apps and web grew 48%, Black users up to 56%. 3 billion users are already online, with more than 1 billion getting connected in the next couple of years. Most of this growth will come from a small set of countries like India, Indonesia, Nigeria, and Brazil, will represent over 2/3 of that 1 billion. Again, this isn't just the right thing to do. We have the opportunity to increase market share if we learn into building and actively going after marginalized groups by way of an intentional go-to-market strategy. This slide is mostly focused on US-centric, user-based approach. It represents the spending power in the US from Latinx to LGBTQ+ viewpoints. But you want to ask yourself, when applying this approach to a business perspective, What are the opportunities that you might be leaving at the table, like the public sector, EDU, small business, etc.? A lot of what we'll cover in the upcoming slides is building for all users from a customer perspective, but our holistic approach allows us to apply those processes, methodologies, findings, and insights to B2B services, website transaction software, products, and their features, to name a few. Why does this matter? Business consists of customers and knowledge experts who may have a disability or are from a community of historical marginalized users and/or customers. Who are we building for? The CEO or a person that works in finance? Who are we gathering feedback from? You're going to be interacting with businesses that have customers and employees with a wide range of backgrounds and dimensions, and you need to build and/or produce services for all of them. Product inclusion builds on a lot of work like central accessibility work, but expands the conversation around diversity, equity, and inclusion to look at across multiple additional dimensions of identity and the interactions of those dimensions, some of which you'll see here. When we think about the inclusive paradigm, there are many dimensions to identity, from race, gender, age to disabilities, physical attributes, and more. While accessibility focuses on making products usable and inclusive to people with all disabilities, all of those dimensions need to be considered and represented. Meanwhile, these dimensions can meet and overlap. They are fluid, can adapt and evolve as the person gets older. Using myself as an example, I'm a Hispanic male with dyslexia. It's not like I'm Hispanic on Monday, dyslexic on Tuesday, and a male on Wednesday. These dimensions can intersect and affect how I move through the world, how I interact with products, and how the world interacts with me. From a B2B perspective, dimensions can also be, 1, who are we building the tools for? Who are the people in the business? Is it for the CTO or the finance team? Who are we taking your feedback from? Go to the people who are doing the work and know the process, program, or service inside and out to get their insights. We want teams to think holistically about these dimensions and not individually. We also understand that what may be historically underrepresented may change depending on where we are in the world. Consider all dimensions diversity. Keep this non-exhaustive list in mind as you build your services and products to ensure you're considering all identities and how they intersect. When we build with inclusion in mind, outcomes are often better for everyone. For instance, closed captions were invented for people who had a hard time hearing. Now, people in loud airports also use it and can help children who are learning to read. Closed captions can help in all meeting types, allowing for participants where English is not their first language. Through our work with many teams across Google and Alphabet, we create this unique process for product inclusion and equity. These represent the end-to-end inflection points that can help teams build with an inclusive lens, whether you are developing an app or conducting machine learning data training. We've done research over the past few years on the business case for inclusion. And these 4 areas are the places we have found opportunities to create big changes in inclusive product design. All inflection points are important, but asking yourself the right questions during key phases of the design process can help ensure that your team is including diverse perspectives and centering underrepresented voices when it matters most. Here are some questions you can ask throughout the process. Is your team representative of historical marginalized users or customers across multiple dimensions of identity? If not, whose perspective might be overlooked? Have you considered cultural factors in different parts of the world that might affect usage? For example, if your product uses a calendar, does it account for different religious holidays? If it uses facial recognition, will it work for women wearing a hijab? Have you tested the product with slow internet speeds? For more questions like these ones, please visit belonging.google. Inclusive user research and testing. Inclusive user research and testing is an increasingly common activity across Google and provides deep insights into how users experience our products. It plays a pivotal role in our ability to build for everyone. If we can't deliver on that promise, we fail to seek out perspectives from users and customers across dimensions of age, gender, race, social economic position, and more. We regularly reach out to historical, marginalized internal and external users whose feedback and insights enable inclusive product development within Google and help build better products for all users. This is a simplified diagram of our process, but identifies opportunities to engage with research and testing for both pre and post launch. At the start of ideation, we give feedback on the product requirements and walk product owners through questions about product inclusion. Some of the questions will ask, who are your target users? Who are you intentionally excluding and why? Ideation brings in diverse perspectives to ensure you are building for yourself and for those like you, especially crucial for teams that may not have diversity across gender, age, ability, ethnicity, etc. User research. This is the first inflection point where you can get to the core of the user and customer needs and what challenges you are trying to solve. Learning about how people use technology and what gaps there are is key and cannot be done in a bubble. Partner with research teams and help with recruiting diverse participants to gather early feedback to validate assumptions. For example, did you conduct studies with a simulation of poor connectivity? Does it work in rural areas versus highly populated cities? Testing. Once the product or service is created, test with a myriad of potential users and customers from all walks of life. They may be able to break your product internally and find gaps that the team had not considered. Plan for internal and external testing to deep dive on pre-release features and products. Lastly, collect post-launch feedback to help validate and confirm the product, feature, or service launch, and to learn from missed opportunities. What we do with all the results and findings. We share them with relevant product teams and keep findings and learnings for future use so that we continuously improve on our previous experience. A product, feature, or service may be delayed if inclusion, usability issues, and others are found during the research or testing phase. The product launch findings, feedback, and insights from a wide range of internal and external sources are shared with teams to apply them to future products, features, and services. For example, the Meet team launched the feature Light Enhancement in 2021. It's an AI feature that automatically detected when users appeared underexposed and enhanced the brightness to improve their visibility, irrespective of their skin tone. The algorithm was tested with internal participants and provided the feedback needed to tweak it. The algorithm and its findings were then shared with other teams across Google, as well as helped optimize engineering development time. What are the business opportunities with inclusive research and testing? Starting early, inclusive research and testing within the product and/or feature lifecycle offers opportunities to identify which users may unintentionally be excluded and adjust feature requirements that may lead to increase in product satisfaction, reduce brand risk, obtain potential for higher adoption rate, receive faster leadership product approvals, and minimize launch delays due to late discovery of product, service, inclusion, and usability issues. Start by meeting with stakeholders to discuss gaps in user-customer representation and craft an inclusive strategy in the product requirements. This approach allows the product, feature, service to go to market faster by leveraging insights and findings in previous research studies that have already informed previous design specs, testing and implemented code, or pre-created algorithms. The people involved in process shape the finished product. Every team has gaps in representation, and creating a proactive partnership or consulting strategy can help fill them. In the previous slides, I discussed the process of engagement and the approach of gathering feedback and the focus of internal and external pathways to help leverage and share findings with product teams to build for everyone. We have a four-prong approach with inclusive testing and research, along with product inclusive questions, which helps apply inclusive principles to products, services, and features. You can create more inclusive products and grow the business by applying inclusive practices to all you say, do, and build. The four-prong approach is with internal members. We partner with employee resource groups to help product teams leverage their feedback and insights to enable inclusive product development to create better features and products for all our users. We partner with vendors. We partner and work closely with vendors to allow real-world feedback at scale. Trusted testers. We regularly work with historical marginalized external users whose feedback and insights enable inclusive product development within Google and better products for all users. Localized testing team. We work with an organization that provides localization testing, support, and product teams that need external pre-launch feedback. For example, during the process of engagement and gathering feedback from users, there are times when the feedback played a crucial role in the decision to delay a feature launch to fix usability issues. The case studies. Now I'd like to share with you an example of our experience with inclusive user testing with one of our features. Through feedback from our diverse group of testers, the team was able to determine which algorithm was more robust and worked for all individuals across the skin tone spectrum. This ensured that all video calls on Meet worked well for everyone. The Meet Light Enhancement is an AI feature that automatically detects when a user appears underexposed and enhances the brightness to improve their visibility irrespective of their skin tones. The AI algorithm has been tuned to ensure people with darker skin tones are illuminated in video chats and people with lighter skin tones are lit up. We have developed processes to run these tests for our up and coming and future features. This has provided us with the foundation of fairness testing at scale for our image processing algorithms. Building more inclusive experience is a long-term commitment, one that involves close collaboration with brands, publishers, and researchers. We have open sourced the Monk Skin Tone Scale, so everyone can use it for skin tone machine learning, research, and to create products that work for more users. By open sourcing the scale, our goal is to improve it over time in partnership with the industry. It is our priority to fight historical technical challenges and biases directly in society by giving society solutions like the Monk Skin Tone Scale. In the coming months, we'll also develop a standardized way to label content for images on Google Search. Creator brands and publishers will be able to use an inclusive schema to label images with attributes like skin tone, hair color, and hair texture. All of this is part of our ongoing commitment to ensuring that the web is representative as our world. To learn more, go to skintones.google. To summarize, number one, focus on the user, consumer-first approach. Consider all identities and how they intersect. 2, ask key questions at each phase and junction of the lifecycle of the product, feature, and or service. Ensure that your team and or company is including diverse perspectives and centering historical marginalized voices when it matters most. Plan for early inclusive user research testing. Obtain deep insights into how users and customers will experience your products, features, and services. The feedback and insights will help create better products and services, grow the business, and drive equitable outcomes for everyone. To learn more, go to about.google/belonging. Thank you for joining us.